Hi folks, it's Monday and it's time for Jazz on Waxing On. And today, as you saw from the thumbnail, we're going to look at some of the music of Bill Watrous. I first became aware of Bill Watrous in the, early 70s, reading Downbeat. I mean, at that time I was doing a lot of research into players. I just started playing trumpet, and Downbeat was one of my go-to magazines. And Bill was topping the charts year after year, both critics and the readers poll. So it got me curious. Bill also looked different than most of the trombone players. I mean, as a young guy, he had long hair, he wore sandals, he kind of looked cool, somebody that was different than all of the old style trombone players. So also that appealed to, me as a younger guy. So I went looking, and of course, being in a small town, we were at the mercy of department stores for our music supplies or our music listening. And really, there wasn't a lot available. Once in a while, we'd make our trip to Toronto, and on Yonge Street in Toronto, there were two major music stores. These were multi-level buildings with different floors dedicated to different styles of music, and that was A&A and Sam the Record Man. And we always made a stop when we were there. So I ended up picking up one of the albums that Bill did with a big band. And this is Bill Watrous and the Manhattan Wildlife Refuge. Now, I don't think there's a lot of big band albums featuring him. I have another CD here I'll show you in a minute, and it's smaller of a smaller group. It's more studio. I know online when I check for material by Bill, it's usually in small group settings. So this was one of those rare occasions when we got to hear him with a big band. He was co-leading this one with a trumpet player called Danny Stiles. And I'll just give you an idea who else was playing on it. This was 1974, and at that time they were still working out of New York. Bill was also doing a lot of studio work. I'll mention him maybe in another week or so with some of the studio work he was doing for Creed Taylor. He played on Diodato's first album, Prelude. And then he went out to the West Coast, did a lot of studio work there as well. So he led small groups and studio, but this is one of the rare big band outings. So obviously you had Danny Stiles as lead trumpet and the other leader, John Gatchell, who we've heard before, and I think he played also with 10 Wheel Drive. Now, before Bill got the big band together, he had performed with 10 Wheel Drive, which was during that time when Blood, Sweat and Tears, Chicago, Lighthouse, these bands were out featuring brass sections. Well, 10 Wheel Drive was also one of those bands, and Bill was in one of the early versions of it. It's also got Dean Proud on trumpet, Wayne Andre on trombone, who shows up on a lot of our session jobs. Alan Gavin on alto flute. We got Ed Soff on drums, and we have Joe Beck on guitar. Now, the album's made up of, let me see, we've got 8 songs. 2 of them are written by Bill, one called Fourth Floor Walk Up and DD. We got Chicoria Spain, which is the opening, and a nice one called Zip City in there that features some great trombone work. Now, I looked online. I don't see where this band is really available for streaming. You might find it someplace, or you might find it on YouTube if you went through and checked some of the older ones. But certainly a fun group to listen to hear him in a big band setting. Now, a few years later, I bought one, and it's more of a small group. This one, it's out of a CD, and this one was written, material was written by Pat Williams. Now, some of you may recognize the name. Pat Williams was composer, did a lot of music back in the 70s for TV shows like the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Bob Newhart. But he was a big band arranger and writer. And this is the one album. Let's see if I can get that so it's clear for you to see. I know it's a little washed out, but it's called, see what it is called here, Reflections. And also featured, now he's on the West Coast, Snooky Young on trumpet with him. And one of the ones that I thought were a lot of fun, he had talked about doing session jobs. He had done the theme for a TV show called Slap Maxwell, which starred Dabney Coleman. And on this one, Bill's got a whistling solo in addition to the trombone playing. So a lot of the more recent West Coast in smaller sized groups with West Coast players, usually quartets, sometimes 6 players, sometimes a little less. But for big band, if you get a chance, see if you can find it. There was also another one came out called Tiger of San Pedro, which I think was followed this one, and may also be in that big band setting. I didn't get a chance to get a copy of it. And like I say, it was hard to find Bill's stuff. Great when you got a chance to get your hands on one. So there you go. If you get a chance, check out Bill Watrous. If you haven't heard him before, he's an amazing trombone player. Also, if you have the opportunity, Paul the trombonist, he did an interview with Bill a few months ago. Well, probably a few months before he passed away. And if you get a chance, check out his YouTube channel. Get a look at that interview because it's pretty interesting, some of the things Bill has to talk about. That's it for Monday. Thanks for stopping by. Everybody stay home, stay safe, and we'll see you on Wednesday when we look at classic rock.